Croeso nôl, and welcome to a special edition of the Fearless in Devotion podcast. I won't call it an emergency pod because that usually signals something bad. This is quite a good news one, off the back of two pretty major off-field developments today. The first one being the announcement that the Allyn family are the new minority investors in Wrexham. The club put out a statement earlier today. They haven't gone into detail on what sort of size of stake that they've taken on, but I've got quite a bit of background on this. But first of all, before I crack on with that, I'll get the reaction of Andy Gilpin and Andrew Pollard. So were you both expecting that today?
No, not at all. And it was the wrong Allens. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't Woody Allen or Alan Partridge, and that's good. It's just it
Or
wasn't the
Martin
Allen,
Allen, Mad Dog
yeah,
at Luton, yeah, no.
or any of that Allen family. Paul
Joe
Allen,
Allen, yeah.
Clive Allen, Bradley Allen. No, it was a rogue Allen, but not a bad Allen. I mean, no Allens are bad, are they? Name one person apart from Woody Allen who is evil.
I mean, Woody Allen kind of takes it for all the Allens, to be fair. Gonna be honest, mate.
He's taken the Allen key. Oh, Christ, right.
Right. No, but it took me completely by surprise. Not just the timing of the announcement, but who it was behind it. We had sort of rumors that it was the sporting Allyn family from based in Portland, who were the Microsoft sort of heirs. And it's turned out not to be them at all. But, that's good. Did they need another sporting club in their umbrella, especially one so far away when they're quite sort of centralized in Portland? Probably not, no. So to have someone completely different, by all accounts, when you sort of delve into them a little bit, they seem quite a really trustworthy and good community focused family who do quite a lot for their area in upstate New York. A lot of people say upstate New York is very similar to North Wales. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I think the more I look into it, the more I sort of think it seems a good idea. The key thing is, and you touched on it, Liam, is how much is the stake? How much are they taking? Because if they're sort of nearly at 50%, are they really rich enough to spend a huge amount to get us into the Premier League? If they're taking a smaller stake, are they sort of part of like a network of investors that will come in and all shoulder the burden a little bit, rather than it being all on one sort of family or investment fund?
Yeah, Andrew, your immediate reaction to it? I mean, I've got my own thoughts on their reasons just based off the information I've gathered so far, but what was your immediate thoughts on the announcement?
I guess first and foremost, I was totally out of the loop because I had a busy day in work today, and a mate of mine rang me, Jacko, who sits next to me in the ground in the Monroe stand. And I'm like, what's he ringing me for at this time of the day? While I'm working away, and Anstey's like, so what inside scoop you got on this the investment that's come in the Wrexham Lager? I was like, what is this? Because I've been totally out of the loop. So my immediate thoughts were like, okay, because obviously we'd heard in the past couple of weeks that there might be some sort of investment coming in, and we'd heard certain names rumored, the Seattle Seahawks being one of them. So yeah, I did a little bit of digging that they're apparently a family that have been in the medical industry for since 1915, I think it was, like basically 100 years, well 100 and plus years. And then they sold that business for something daft. Like it was many billions of dollars. I think it was like $2.5 billion. Was it $2.5 billion?
Just over 2 billion. Yeah.
So pocket change, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So again, going back to what Andy said, it depends on what the percentage of the stake is. And then the other side of that is you look at it as in it can't be a bad thing. There was the immediate, when I went back through the comments, because like I said, I saw it afterwards. So to go back and kind of read it back through in almost essentially real time, the initial reaction was like, that's it. They're not interested. They're looking to sell the club, as in Rob and Ryan. And then you see, 2 hours later, there's another tweet of like, oh, actually, they're now co-owners of Wrexham Lager. So yeah, which is another plot twist I did not expect to see come in today. But I did not have that on my bingo card in 2024, but in the last few years, there's been so many things that have happened that I did not ever think possible to have on any sort of bingo card. So yeah, we look forward to it.
Yeah, just before I bring Tim on this, so a bit of background to this. So obviously I've started my new job reporting on Wrexham this week. Just drop that in there again. If anyone who wants to follow me on Twitter at Liam J Randall. So yeah, it's been quite exciting for me really, because this is one of the first couple of days I've been reporting on it. And I thought it was going to be a bit of a quiet week, what with the build up to the FA Cup, but not much else going on. So when this dropped today, I've actually found it pretty exciting news. I mean, our friend of the podcast, Gareth Collins, has done a bit of a potted history for us on the background to the Allyn family. So as Andrew mentioned, they owned a medical device manufacturing company for some 100 years, which is pretty good going. Sold out to a company called Hillrom in 2015 for more than £2 billion. And I think the interesting part in all this for me is, as Andy said, they're quite philanthropists basically. So they've used their wealth rather than doing what I would do, and I would have just sat on the money like a bird sitting on a nest. They've actually decided to try and make a difference in the communities where they live. So there's various projects, particularly in the New York area where they're from. The key figure to all this appears to be Eric Allen, who's the former chairman of Welsh Allen. He's been seen at Wrexham games by none other than Geraint Lloyd of Gwersalt Reds fame. So he's actually shared with me today a couple of pictures showing that they'd been at games. I think it was Crawley game and Northampton. So they've already been around the town. I'm told they've been filmed for the documentary. And they seem quite invested in the community element for this. So before we go into the Wrexham Lager announcement, it probably preempts this a bit. But it feels to me as if this is really pushing on with the owner's mission statement in terms of improving the community of Wrexham, as it were. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because I've also noticed on the BBC website that apparently the investment in Wrexham Lager is directly through Red Dragon Ventures, which is the company which has jointly been set up by Ryan and Rob and the Allyn family. So it could be the first of many, sort of investments locally, but we'll have to wait and see. Tim, what was your reaction to that?
Yeah, it was one of those really, because we weren't well versed in it and we all thought it was going to be somebody else. We weren't quite sure where it had come from. And this is like in the same week that we all just said in the last pod, oh, Rob and Brian have kind of withdrawn a little bit from the sort of public arena when it comes to Wrexham, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of the blue comes this investment, and then the Wrexham Lager story. So I think it's great. I mean, are we considering that the Allyn name, it's because it's got a double L, we're going to go with Welsh, so Allyn, just for fun and games, I don't think probably chuck that in there. I've never seen a spelling like that before. But yeah, what you just said then about Geraint sharing those pictures, I remember watching the highlights back. I think it was the Northampton game, and there was a very, very, very brief cutaway to the aviation gin suite. And I mean, like when you got like a horror film, they just do like a nanosecond of a clip to sort of like freak you out. It was literally like that. I was like, why are they just doing a cutaway to that? So the clue was always kind of there. It's just that nobody knew who they were at the time. And it was no secret that they were entertaining people. We just didn't quite know what the identity of them were, even though Mr. Allen had been following the Fearless and Devotion Twitter account and several others for X amount of time. We've
Sneaky.
Very sneaky in a good way. So welcome aboard. But it's exciting, and we all know it was going to happen. It wasn't that long ago where Rob Mcelhenney was talking about TV money and movie star money, and now we're kind of looking almost beyond those two combined, really. We're looking at serious investor money. They've made a lot of money from their ventures before. They're very philanthropic. I can't say that word. Yeah, you know what I mean. That. But they seem like genuinely nice people, and 9 times out of 10, the people that Rob and Ryan kind to they look to or want to get on board are people with the genuine interest of a community at heart, and that's what they seem to have done. I'm not fully aware of what they've done in Syracuse and New York, but they seem to have done a lot. You'd be hard pressed. You always, if you ever dig around on a Google name of somebody, you'd be hard pressed to find many bad things said about them. That kind of always tells its own story, I think.
Yeah, it's been a bonkers one, really. I mean, there was me typing away. I just got congratulating myself on turning around a quick story on that, and then next thing it's like, oh yeah, and by the way, Rob and Ryan have just bought Wrexham Lager. Sorry, what? And yeah, they'd done a quite funny video harking back to the history of 1882, using sort of Telegram to communicate the story that they bought the thing. And I was just, I think it's another one of those days where I just sort of, you have to double check that this is actually all happening to us, and it's not a fever dream that one of us has had during COVID, and then we're going to wake up and it's all fake. But I've just on that line about the investment being through Red Dragon Investments, I've double checked that on the Wrexham Lager website, and that is confirmed. So Rob and Ryan's purchase of Wrexham Lager is through this joint investment company with the Allyn family, which again I think just points to the fact that the whole efforts in terms of making a difference to Wrexham has just taken several steps up. And I know a lot of people will be focused on, they'll be wanting to see, we're going to be investing in players and things like that. But I don't know about anyone else, but I'm actually quite excited now to see this side of the ownership really come into fruition.
Well, where do we begin on that one? Who's going to go first? I mean, just touching quickly on the Wrexham Lager stuff. Did anybody seem that surprised? They kind of always felt that it was maybe going to happen. They were always going to kind of look to not hoover up productive local businesses. Kind of the way that the Wrexham Lager was so prominent back in the day, and the way it kind of like faded into nothing, only for it to be rekindled and enjoyed all over again. So I think it's a very shrewd move. They know what they're doing when it comes to drink stuff. We've seen it with Aviation Gin and Four Walls. They know what they're doing. It's going to get exported everywhere. There is rumours on the grapevine that the Wrexham Lager factory itself is going to be relocated closer to the ground. Those are the rumours in and around that Wrexham Gateway project area. And you never know what's going to happen. Obviously, the new COP, there might be scope for things to go in there if it indeed goes to that neck of the woods. So it's all exciting stuff, really.
I mean, for me, it kind of almost reads like, I was saying to somebody today that, as you mentioned there, Tim, it seems like the Wrexham Lager Brewery is destined for a bigger move, and then maybe what we've got in town behind Jones's Chippy, that becomes like essentially a shop front, which obviously there is a shop there, and maybe that's where you look at it. But I've just realised here I do have it's been on my shelf. A little Champions bottle of Wrexham Lager from the National League, unopened.
Toast.
Yeah, it's one of them that I'll open probably in about 40 years. One of my ancestors will find it, and it'll be popping up on like Red Passion in the future of like, do we drink this beer that ran out of date 36 years ago? Yeah, go on, son, give it a go.
I've got a couple of cans that date back to 1999, best before 1999.
Yeah, like your good self, Tim.
Thanks very much.
Those blue cans, they're quite iconic.
Man, absolutely.
I took a crate up to uni. Oh god, I took them on the train all the way up to Scotland. It was an absolute undertaking, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to be the king of this uni. And all my mates had a can, went, well, I'm not too keen on this. And for the next 6 months, I kept finding those blue cans at Wrexham Lager everywhere, absolutely bloody everywhere, behind toilet cisterns, everywhere. Right. The key thing for me is it's called Wrexham. It's called Wrexham Lager, and that is straight away their marketing done. It's as soon as they called the documentary "Welcome to Wrexham," it just made sense to me. They're both quite au fait with the drinks industry. They know that football and beer goes hand in hand. Beer and Wrexham as a town goes hand in hand. It just seems the natural sort of progression to that, and it's a way that they can really take that brand and move it across the world. You could see the sort of little stepping points all the way through. I know there was a big furore about bootlegger stepping away from Wrexham Lager, but you sort of understand why now, really, don't you? The same with some of the management being I wouldn't say well moved on, really, unfortunately.
Do you think what you just said is attributed to this, or is that just coincidence, do you think?
I would think it was all part of a longer term plan. I don't think this has come up over the last couple of weeks or months. I think this has been. I think there was a story, and I didn't think much of it at the moment, but I think they trademarked Wrexham Lager in America.
They did a few. I'm sure they did a couple.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did trademark a few different names. So yeah, the clues have always been there, haven't they? Really, I suppose, if you think about it.
I mean, there's two sort of further points from me. Is we sort of, I think the Roberts family deserve massive credit for in 2011 essentially taking on what was a dead brand and completely revitalizing it, and they've already done a lot of the work as far as this goes. You know, I looked at the list of countries that it's already served in on the end of that video, and I didn't realize, you know, Japan, Scandinavia, Australia, places like that. So they've already sort of began the process. But what Rob and Ryan add to it is clearly the marketability, and it getting sold in the US and Canada is absolutely massive news. The other thing is, usually I think quite small, I'm quite cynical, but you know, when we talk about a potential new brewery and things like that, I think of things like, you know, the Guinness Brewery over in Dublin, where you turn it into a destination, turn it a place people can have a tour of. Maybe there's a bar there. You know, I would absolutely love to see something like that in the middle of Wrexham.
So you get to the point where people are like, they'll be drinking Wrexham abroad going, yeah, but it's not the same as where you drink it at the Wrexham Brewery, as everybody does with Guinness. It's the same like out in Dublin. Yeah,
You've hit on something there, Liam. I think they're trying to make Wrexham a destination with a bit of a tour. So, you know, it's not just go to the ground. It's more, you know, it's go to the turf, go to the Wrexham Lager Brewery, have it all as sort of like a package of things you can do in and around the town, which is great.
Mural Trail as well. The mural project's going up right now.
And
also go to our sponsors, the Fat Boar, because they're really good and really helpful. Just saying that as well.
But you see all the clues, and I'm sure the Fat Boar will be synonymous with all this, because it's nailed its colours to the mast even before Rob and Ryan about how much of a supporter of Wrexham Football Club it is. So, you know, the Mice Quinn, they won't be forgotten in this. But, you know, you can just see all the little plans that have been put together for this. And it's turned into quite a Titanic Wednesday, isn't it? That you wake up every morning and you don't think things are going to move on so quickly. And then you've got investment, and you've got Rob and Ryan buying probably one of the most famous companies, most, you know, synonymous with the town, taking that up and barrel. So, you know, you sort of say, well, they'll get bored. Well, they're not getting bored, are they? They've just bought.
Did you deliberately drop the word Titanic in there then, because you knew?
Oh, I wouldn't do anything like that.
You've got a crib sheet there that says make sure you mention the word Titanic surreptitiously.
I wouldn't sing that in, mate. Don't worry.
Oh God,
too far.
It's been 84 years. Yeah.
But it's exciting times. I'm sort of buzzing off the back of today, just because, you know, we all either currently live or have lived in Wrexham for a long time, and just to see people with a smile on their face feeling positive about Wrexham again can only be a good thing. So I'm just interested to see how this all ties in together and how it pans out over the next few sort of months and years. It's almost full circle, like Tim said. You know, if they're looking at the Gateway site, that's just a stone's throw from where the old brewery buildings were before they were knocked down, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It's a strange old time. The fact that we're third in League One as of this recording, all this news today, a couple of signings last week. Who knows what's going to happen in January? It is it's a strange old time to a Wrexham fan, but then that's kind of become the norm. That's the weird thing in the last few years. Excuse me. It's how the strangeness has become the norm. Like, you will get I remember getting the text of a picture of Will Ferrell in the turf, and I'm like, all right, and because it was so normal, because it's a strange time, man. It's a good time.
I'm sure we've asked this question before, but what visitor or what event would have to happen or arrive at the racecourse for you to go, holy shit, that is surreal? Because, like you said, because we've become so accustomed to all the organized chaos, what would it take for you? Is there anybody or anything in particular that would blow your mind?
I think for me, just because I'm not necessarily a huge fan myself, but just in terms of the cultural zeitgeist type of thing, I think it might have been to us actually. Ryan said that he wanted to get Taylor Swift to the ground or something like that. If you could pull off something like that at the racecourse, that would be pretty surreal. Just because you can imagine the amount of attention it would grab and things like that. Like I said, not necessarily for me music wise, but as a cultural event, it'd be absolutely massive for Wrexham, I think.
I mean, I was going to go Shed 7 or Super Animals, Liam, but you dream big, mate. That's all.
UB40.
Sadly not. Been there, done that one. What didn't quite work out so well. Very empty. I don't know. Right now, if you're talking about what would be the thing where it's like, oh my god, I cannot believe this is happening. There's nothing that springs to mind, unless it was something like, I don't know, Bruce Springsteen maybe. But like Taylor Swift to me, I obviously I know she's a big deal. I couldn't tell you one of her songs, but like to me that wouldn't almost be that. I don't know. That'd be like okay, that's kind of fair because she's been name dropped, and obviously it'd be massive for the town. But in terms of one that would really shock me, I don't know. It would be like a Bruce Springsteen or I think that's it. It's the boss. The boss is coming to the racecourse. There we go. You've heard it first.
Alexander's picture taken next to Phil Parkinson where it says the boss at the turf gates. The irony, that'd be beautiful. Andy, who would you plump for? Doesn't have to be music. We've got that.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Yes, mate.
Nice.
The Russell. Yeah, I want him there.
Wow.
I thought Andy was going to say Shawaddy Waddy or something like that.
That's epic. I'm gonna go for. I don't know. I think in my head, I'm probably going to say it would be great if we'd have a bit more rock at the racecourse and we had Metallica there. Sure, and the reason I've got this in my head, A, because of my favourite band, and B, I found out this week that our brand new Icelandic player is a massive Metallica fan. He's actually a shit hot guitarist. He's a very, very good guitarist.
Hmm.
So yeah, there are videos of him out there playing Metallica tunes. So I was like, he's the one.
He's got cult hero potential, hasn't he? I think.
Oh, massive, mate! Absolutely massive. He's got Wanu Garte potential, as in just have a season of madness and then do what you do. I mean, Andy's kind of inspired me to reach up and grab my Kurt Russell box of Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China sequels. Well worth hunting down. There is massive cult. Just the way he looks, even. I mean, he's a big old sexy bastard with some long flowing hair. It's like I've got a good feeling in my loins about John Daddy Bodvarsson. Yeah.
No, you're saying it all wrong. I
believe the daddy's wrong. Is it? How is it, Tim?
I've tried to pronounce it in my own accent, but because obviously one of our Icelandic friends has give us the full SP of how you say it, I end up doing it in his voice as opposed to my own, which is hard.
That's good though, because that'll be correct if he's Icelandic.
It's like Jon Jadi Bodvarsson. That's
sounds good to me.
I'll take that absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the cult here, like you said, anybody with long flowing locks, the Danny Sonners, the Mike Lakes, and the
Danny Sonner is one white sock he'd wear over his actual socks. I never knew what that was about, but really good player for his rugby spell.
Was Danny Sonner the one that didn't have a mobile phone and didn't believe in them?
Was that Chris Blackburn?
That was Chris Blackburn, another long head. Not Lothario, I was going to say long head.
Lothario? Okay, now.
You know what I mean?
Right. I'm going to have to go, lads.
Yes.
I've got work to do.
Andy's been turned off by our talk of long flowing locks and loins.
Lotharios and white socks is enough for Andy Gilpin.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is mainly meant to be, sort of a mini pod to mop up what's been a really positive day. But if anyone else got anything they want to throw into the mix, I think we've had a good chat. We've had Wrexham Lager, we've had Allyn Family, and we've had Andrew Pollard's loins. So
on the same week that Snoop Dogg is also aware of the Wrexham story, and Snoop Dogg was on record to say that Rob and Ryan have done a great job because he's looking to invest in Celtic, as you do. So what else? What's going to happen next week? What's going to happen next week?
Flying
Andy,
cars in Wrexham.
Andy, before you go, you got a hip hop link from Snoop Dogg to who was the Tyrese Campbell that played for Charlton? What was his middle name again?
Tupac Shakur.
What?
Yeah, seriously. So Tyrese Campbell, the number 7 that ripped Wrexham to shreds to a point on Saturday. His middle name is Tyrese Tupac Shakur, something else. Campbell.
Anthony. It goes a bit crap after that. I'm going to be honest.
On that bombshell.
We've peaked there.
Yeah, apologies to all the Anthony's out there. Anthony's a solid name. Just Andy hates it for some reason.
Anthony Barry. Andy doesn't trust him either.
Exactly. The two first names, dude.
Right, come on, lads. Let's tie this up.
Yeah, right. So thanks to everyone for joining us for this special midweek podcast. Thanks to the Fat Boar, as always, for sponsoring us. I would list the full list of venues, but I am not Andrew Pard and he's too good at it. So I'm not even going to try and match up to that. But yeah, thanks again once again for listening to Fearless in Devotion, and we'll see you again soon.
Raise a glass of Wrexham Lager to the Allyn family on the eve of Halloween. See what I did there? See you later.